The watch that I am reviewing today competes with the big boys of the Swiss market at a fraction of their prices. They're not my words. They are the words of a subscriber to the channel who has bought 4 of these for himself. If there's anyone that we can believe, it's someone that actually has it in hand next to other coveted pieces that he has bought with his own money. This is Escudo, and they're one of the uncovered gems of the microbrand world. It has the quality of finish, the execution, the specifications, and they go above and beyond for the tiny little details to perfect their ocean sea crest. My name's Jason, I'm your watch guy today. Let's get into it. I think it's pretty important to mention that this review has actually been about a year in the making. I first spotted Escudo when a supporter of the channel, a subscriber and someone that I have become quite friendly with over the years, posted their model on his Instagram page. It definitely piqued my interest, and then I met Simon, one of the co-founders of the brand, in London at British Watchmakers Day. He was incredibly enthusiastic to show me all of the details that he had packed into this piece and how good the quality was overall. And I'm not gonna lie, as soon as I heard the Scouse accent, I was on board. Since then, they've added new variants, refined their model, and added a beautiful president-style bracelet. As soon as he got in touch with me to have a sea crest on the channel, I absolutely jumped at the chance. I know a lot of you may compare this to the Tudor Black Bay, and I'll be honest, I'll probably use that for a few clicks myself. And that's obviously because we have a similar case profile. But once we line these two up together, side by side, that's where the similarities end. A lot of Swiss brands like Tudor, like Rolex, are often afraid to add a little bit of flair to their pieces, in my opinion. And that's exactly what the sea crest brings us. A flair for design, these small details, along with an excellent build quality. And I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever seen a brand put so much thought into the tiny little details that a lot of us, when we just glance over the model, will look past. But that's exactly why I love this watch. Because once it's in front of you, once you purchase one and you get it in hand, it's those small details that set it apart from anything else you own. A lot of those small details revolve around the early days of Portuguese and British explorers. And I think the Portuguese elements to this piece really bring it home. From the colours to the loom pip, down to the multiple Portuguese crosses around the piece itself, as well as a little hidden feature on that crystal. This is a $2,000 watch, and that means it'll come with some expectations. For me, it certainly exceeds those expectations. But obviously this is a review, so let me tell you why. Each small detail is thought out to the highest degree. The polishing and brushing throughout the casing equals some of my £5,000 pieces, even down to the polished refinement of the lugs. The bezel has a ball bearing system for a click, and I have never felt a more precise bezel action than this one. Something that I've never experienced, but now I just can't get enough of. The crown shows off itself how well thought out it is, with that external tube for a little bit of extra safety. A really good level of grip to really get a hold of in any sort of situation. And then refined at the signature with an enamelled Portuguese cross. The matte effect aluminium bezel in this azul blue model is absolutely beautiful. But again, it's the details. The raised circular numerals around the outer edge, as well as the batons, just add to the premium effect of the piece. And they are all loomed for a better dive presence. The time-elapse triangle at the 12 o'clock is hiding a tiny little Portuguese flag. And I love that. The dial offers up this incredible compass-like design with heavily elongated triangles at the 12, 3, 6 and 9, and then circular hour numerals around the rest of the dial. They're all applied to the dial and give a 3D effect to that matte finished textured black dial. The case back is probably something that you think they can skate by on and forget, but no, this is actually a 2-piece case back, ensuring that the Escudo logo in the center is always aligned perfectly. No matter how many times you take that case back off, I won't be doing that. This isn't mine. But if I did take it off, I could show you the movement in the back of this, the SW200, which is still decorated. You're not even going to see it, but they're still going to decorate it for you. And for the reference, you can see that in some of their models, they do offer a display case back. The bracelet is the most recent addition to this piece. A lot of reviewers, when they first got it in, said that it needs a bracelet. The leather band's fantastic, the tropic bands are fantastic, but it needs a bracelet. So the guys at Escudo went back to the drawing board and they ensured that they were going to make the best possible bracelet they could for the price. And they have. It's a president style, which means that it fits almost perfectly to your wrist. It's well finished with elements of brushing and polish. And they've even gone down to the point that they've ensured that the screws are flush to the bracelet. No one would even think of that. The clasp is signed and looks pretty aesthetically pleasing for a dive piece. But it's also hiding a on-the-fly quick adjustment. And you may have guessed it by now. Even the parts that you can't see in that clasp, they've signed. If you actually go ahead and order one of these pieces, they're not just going to a warehouse and picking it off the shelf. No, these are made to order. And that ensures that every time they send a watch out, it has been assembled and put together and assessed with care each and every purchase. They've literally left nothing unthought about here. And just to hammer that point home, Simon showed me one of the coolest little tricks that this watch has to offer. They've signed the crystal. Let me show you. So if you apply a little bit of steam or condensation to the top side of this crystal, well, they've gone and signed it with the Escudo cross. That box sapphire crystal is also a fantastic addition to give this a more rustic and vintage type of style overall. If none of this has convinced you about this piece, well, let's get down to the finer details of it. It's 39mm in diameter, which provides a really nice fit to my wrist. And I know that a lot of people do enjoy that 39mm point, but it still maintains that real dive type of presence on your wrist. The 20mm lugs come drilled because they are going to supply you with a tropic band also, so it ensures that quick switch in and out. It comes in around 13mm thick, and that includes the protruding box sapphire crystal. And with a 47.5mm lug to lug, it has genuinely been the perfect everyday wear piece for me. I love that the compass dial gives off that nautical type of theme and brings together the design inspiration. And beyond that, it's really suited to this dive piece. The bezel gives a more rustic feel, and I personally relate that a lot to the early Portuguese explorers. The bracelet, as mentioned, is really well finished and brings through elements of polishing and brushing from the case itself. You can see that it's a brilliant wear on wrist, and I've really enjoyed having it in. The loom also stands up to the test. It's well spread, it provides longevity, and the added elements to the bezel just sell it to me. The broadsword style handset is really legible, and that's what you need on a dive piece. But beyond that, it's perfectly sized. The hour hand fits exactly into each end of those compass pieces, as well as the sweeping second hand sitting at the same point. As I say, every element was thought through to the 10th degree. I absolutely love this watch, and I'm sure you can tell. But obviously you're going to want to hear the drawbacks to it. They are pretty minimal. The movement is an SW200, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you can pick that up for half the price in a Christopher Ward. But personally, that's not really an issue for me, because I can see that the extra money in this piece comes from the quality in the build and the details of it. So it's Swiss, it's reliable, it's fine for me. Secondly, putting this much money on the table for a micro brand is going to be daunting. In my opinion, however, this one's completely worth it, and I think you'll genuinely be ecstatic when you get one on wrist. I'd absolutely love to own one of these. It'd definitely be a keeper with that little bit of Scouse heritage. I would have to ask Simon to replace the London Prince with Liverpool though. Thanks for watching today, guys. These watches are absolutely incredible. If you're interested in one of their pieces, then their website is linked in the description. Otherwise, they do appear quite often at watch shows, so pop along, see them. They are great people, and this will absolutely blow your mind in person. I know the price is a higher end one, but honestly, I've had the Black Bay. This blows it out of the water for a fraction of the price, and I can pick much more holes in that little Black Bay. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're already not, and I will see you in the next one.